This hour by Frederick Remington, fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. Exclusive, no refrigeration, 10-year extended shelf life bacon. The thickest, meatiest, center-cut bacon in the industry at fullycookedbacon.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. The Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, April 5th. Always excited that you took time to tune in on the show on a Saturday morning, and obviously you have a lot of choices on a Saturday, particularly related to Wall Street. Many of you may have had enough of it during the week with all the volatility we've seen here in the recent few months. But that said, we're here. We're here to hopefully provide you some information. We got a good lineup of guests for you. Our good friend Henry Weingarten will hopefully be joining us in the next segment. Don VIALOX from EquityClock.com will be joining us. Our trader friend Harry Boxer from the TechTrader.com will hopefully be here as well. And my good friend Sinclair will be with us, and maybe we'll have another one of those banks behaving badly segments during the course of the interview. Always fun with that, particularly with what's going on with Wells Fargo here in recent months. Meanwhile, a lot to talk about, and basically, I'm going to focus a little bit on this segment on the cannabis industry. Many of you know that I've been following that diligently here since 2014. We've done pretty well with it, but a lot of news is starting to unfold in that sector. I do produce the Cannabis Vice newsletter. Covers everything, alcohol, tobacco, the cannabis stocks. So, Vice is out there, also includes gaming issues. But we jumped into it back in 2014 thinking that this was an ongoing new trend, and sure enough, we were right. And now look where we are. Meanwhile, we've got legalization issues in Canada starting hopefully in the fall. It's supposed to have been the summer, but now it's delayed out to September. And here in the U.S., just fighting galore going on, states versus the federal law, and the rescheduling potential of marijuana, Schedule I drug, and they want to take it off that list. And we have some senators and congressmen that are behind this. We just read recently that Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell introduced a bill that would remove federal barriers to hemp, which is basically the source for the CBD oils, the cannabinoidal oils that many of you out there use. I know many of my clients use it. I'm surprised just about everywhere I go I'm hearing many folks use it, maybe because we're all around the same age, 60s, 70s, and so forth. So we're starting to use things to relieve pain and so forth. But just about everybody I know is using that. But meanwhile, that's a big growing area. Historically, hemp has been banned under federal drug laws that also prohibit marijuana. Many say that it comes under that same Schedule I issue with regard to marijuana. So, meanwhile, I don't know if you really know much about hemp, but it was like one of the original crops here in the United States. The founding fathers back in the 1700s were growing hemp galore. It was used for all kinds of products, clothing, and on and on and on, not just medicinal issues at all. They used it for ships. It just basically, we get into a whole discussion about what happened there. Basically, there's a lot of pressure from the textile companies, later on the drug companies and so forth, to take hemp out of the marketplace, and now we're trying to bring it all back. So Meanwhile, this past week, a federal appeals court sided with the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration, and upheld its decision on CBD. Now, I don't know how many of you know about the CBD-THC complex. It was discovered back in the 1970s at Hebrew University in Israel, basically diagnosing and breaking up the plant itself, finding out there was there were two components to the marijuana plant. One more is like psychedelic, so to speak, and one is just more a relaxing element, and that's the CBD. The THC is what gets us high if we start smoking or taking oils that have the THC, or edibles for that matter. But the CBD doesn't do that. It has a lot of medicinal benefits, and so the fact that it's still on a Schedule 1, I guess this is what Mitch McConnell has been talking about. Meanwhile, Dianne Feinstein in California, which was long one of the left's most intractable opponents to marijuana, surprising because she's in California, has finally recognized which way the wind is blowing. In an interview this past week, she said she wants the federal government to leave Californians who are legally smoking pot under state law alone. Now, smoking is not just the issue from my point of view; it's the medicinal aspect, the CBD I'm talking about, as well as the ability to freely use marijuana if you wish to. Having some THC, from what I understand, in the CBD is beneficial, but you have to check with your medical doctor about that. But a lot of research going on there. One of the big stocks that we've been tracking has been on our recommended list here for the last 3-4 years, has been that GW Pharmaceutical, which we've been trading. I think it's around $139 a share now. I thought it would be a buyout at some point, and there was a unanimous approval for FDA. There was an advisory panel that consults with the FDA, and there was almost unanimous approval for the approval of a drug. I think it's Sativex, which would treat neurological disorders. But this is just the beginning. They have a bunch of stuff in the pipeline. They're a UK company. And I guess the strategy has been to try to get it approved through the FDA on a synthetic basis, and then eventually going with the plant itself. Up in Canada, the plant is more the key factor, not a synthetic version. But, I guess more money is made on the synthetics, but also to comply with the FDA guidelines. But once this actually gets approved, it's really a very significant event, because the federal government would then be saying that CBD marijuana is legal if it's approved through this particular program and through the FDA sequence of events, and it really is a breakthrough. So it's really it's a trend, and the train's left the station. So meanwhile, Chuck Schumer, not my favorite person, but he's been trying to roll out legislation to decriminalize marijuana on the federal level. The same issue with the Drug Enforcement Administration removing marijuana, and I presume CBD and hemp as well, off that Schedule 1. The interesting fact is that by getting it off the Schedule 1 really doesn't solve the problem. It's almost, we really need an act of Congress. We need almost like the I'm going to get my history wrong here. I'm going to have to get criticized. It was the 22nd Amendment that took off the prohibition of alcohol. But meanwhile, we need a legislative event in Congress, both the Senate and House, saying, in effect, that marijuana is legal, just like alcohol is legal. You may have to be 18 or 21 to access it, but getting it off that negative list. So that's going to take a little time, and that's what really needs to happen. But what happened before that, Donald Trump was trying to get some approvals for some various cabinet positions and other positions, and apparently Cory Booker, one of the senators from Colorado, was holding those up, and they struck a deal the last couple of weeks. You might have probably read about it. That Cory was saying essentially, listen, lay off Colorado with regard to the marijuana, and I'll let those. I'll remove that blockage from those appointments that you're trying to get approved. So apparently there was a deal struck there, and that was sort of a breakthrough. And the Californians are, of course, hoping that really applies to them as well. So that was a little bit of a breakthrough in the last couple of weeks. So a lot of interesting stuff going on there. I cover it in my Cannabis Vice letter, and we'll talk about this more and more with some special guests in coming sessions. So don't touch your dial. We'll be back after the break with our good friend Henry Weingarten and Don Villot.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is a warning to all household pests, to all cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, and rats. If you've made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix. Because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home. Terminix has 90 years of experience eliminating home invaders. And they make it easy for homeowners to be protected by offering a free pest estimate by calling 1-800-676-9879. Cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, rats, and other pests. This is your last chance. With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will never stop working to keep you out with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Pests.
Wherever you are, I will find you.
Pests. You've been warned. Homeowners are calling Terminix right now for a free pest estimate. 1-800-676-9879. 1-800-676-9879. 30-day money-back guarantee at participating locations. Limitations apply. See plan for details.
Healthcare reform is confusing, but whether it's finding an affordable insurance plan, keeping your doctor, or being able to afford needed prescriptions, navigating the healthcare system has become a challenge. Control your own healthcare costs and choices with Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It is an association of self-pay patients who unite with like-minded people to share the cost of each other's medical needs. Neighbor helping neighbor. Learn more now by going to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to mypillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's mypillow.com or 800-870-0305 with promo code GCN.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original, most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Think positive. Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw Radio Show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. It's Saturday, May 5th. I was going to say April 5th. It's May 5th, and thank you again for joining us. Time flies when you're having fun here. We've had some real volatile markets, and markets sort of double-bottomed a little bit on Thursday and Friday, coming off that 200-day moving average. And we're going to talk about that with our very special guest and regular guest, Don VIALOUX from EquityClock.com and TimingTheMarket.ca. Good morning, Don. Thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me back, Mark.
So we're in that seasonal negative period, but we always try to put seasonality together with the charts, and hopefully when they're they're in sync, we feel a lot better about making our forecast. So right now we have a negative cyclical picture, but the market seemed to have held here, particularly that 200-day moving average. So how do you read that?
Yeah, fascinating. The markets are up on Friday, but despite that, they're actually down for the week. It's the second week in a row for weakness in major U.S. equity indices. Traders are taking profits on news, despite the stronger than expected first quarter earnings reports released by a lot of S&P 500 companies last week. Talking about the 200-day moving average, it's fascinating. That seems to be a fairly important bounce point for major U.S. equities indices. The S&P 500 has the 200-day moving average at 2615. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has a 200-day moving average at 23,762, and the Dow Jones Transportation Average is at 10,103. Now, those indices are still trending on the upside. The averages are out trading on the upside. If they are broken, look for significant weakness in the weeks to come.
So, seasonality is what it is, but, the market rally could stretch a while, and we could get a bigger move here before we have a correction. There's nothing saying that seasonality says the market has to go straight down to October. That's for sure, right?
That's correct. Now, it's a season for U.S. equity markets to move lower, particularly in a midterm election year like we have this year. It means that on average, there's a downside risk of about 5% during a midterm election year, so just be aware of that. The period of weakness is from the last week in April to the first week in October. Seems to be that's what's happening again this year. Now, investors are responding to increasing political rhetoric prior to the midterm election, which is going to be in November of this year. Now, this year, investor angst will be heightened by concerns about the possibility of a change in control by both the House of Representatives and the Senate.
And not to mention, geopolitical issues. Hopefully the Korean situation will get resolved, but we don't know that's going to happen until it does happen. And then Iran seems to be saber-rattling as well. Anything could happen in that sector, too.
Yes, it's important to realize that there are certain sectors which will be impacted more during a corrective phase which are being caused not only by political concerns but just general economic concerns. The economic sectors that are most vulnerable between April and October during a midterm election year are the industrials. And the way of playing that is through XLI, which is the industrial spider, and the financials, the symbol for the financial spider is XLF. Now, both of these major ETFs broke key support levels last week, and they look like they want to continue moving lower.
Don, the precious metals have been frustrating for a lot. Have been looking for, big upside move here, particularly with regard to the Russia-China situation and the fact that they've been making some big gold purchases and so forth. And there's been all these reports that came out this past week or so about the global silver scrap supplies running to the lowest level in 26 years. What's your read? We're in a seasonally negative period for the metals, are we not?
Yes, we are for the metals, but for the gold stocks, this is the time of year when they start to show some signs of recovery. Interesting to note that Franco-Nevada broke out on Friday to a new recent high, completing a nice double bottom pattern. And Kinross Gold, another Canadian major gold producer, also completely very similar pattern, a double bottom pattern. Looks like their seasonal influences are happening a little bit earlier than normal this year.
And those tend to lead the metal itself, do they not?
They do. The important thing is when you start to see gold stocks outperforming the commodity itself, that's a very good sign that the typical period of seasonal strength for the gold sector from around the end of June right through until the September looks like it's going to be happening once again.
Wow. Okay, well, that Franco-Nevada has been a great stock anyway. That's held up really well even when gold was coming down. So that seems almost like a blue chip name regardless. Don, I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes with us. We covered a lot of bases here, and we'll have you back next week. Don VIALOUX from EquityClock.com and TimingTheMarket.ca. Have a great weekend, Don, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, on the line, we have our very good friend, Henry Weingarten, from the Astrologers Fund, afund.com. Couldn't reach Henry last week. Henry was traveling the week prior, and we're glad to have him back on the show. Henry, thank you again for squeezing a couple minutes in.
Sure, absolutely. Well, basically, the big issue is whether or not you sell in May and go away. And our view is we do that in 2019, but we're not sure. Probably we're not going to do it in 2018. We're basically bullish here on the U.S. economy. Very strongly so. The news on Friday was just more confirmation of that. When the markets get up again, above 25,500 to 26,000, we'll do some more hedging and protecting. But here, we'd rather be long than short. We certainly like gold, as it's been holding 1,300 as well. Oil, I think, is a bit pricey based on the Iran situation versus the fundamentals, so we still have a baby short on that for a couple of dollars. But by and large, we're rather pleased. And we heard something very interesting yesterday from Capital Economics that suggests that Chinese growth is, estimate now is 5%, is going to be down to 3% in the next 2-3 years, and they will not overtake the U.S. And their reasoning is, with the new government, all businesses and all are required to do a certain amount of political training. And so that's going to take away from the efficiency having the old Marxist type of hour-a-day type situation in every business. So it was an interesting view. In any case, they were not worried about the Chinese as many people are. Wow. And you're still looking for only a couple more interest rate hikes this year from the Fed, right? Our view is 3, not 4. 7 is the magic number, but 7 magic number we believe will be in the winter of 2019, not in 2018. 320 is the next magic number. When we got over 3, we covered our shorter-term shorts. When we get down to retest 290, if we do, we'll short it again on both a short and intermediate-term basis, because obviously interest rates are going up at least to the 7th time. That may be the one that worries people, because at 320, for some stocks, that's probably better to have some bonds there.
Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. At WallStreetRaw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at WallStreetRaw.com. That's WallStreetRaw.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts and patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Are you still looking for that one iodine that you can really trust? A medical doctor-endorsed product that is backed by honest research and true integrative science? Then search no further. Go to NutriMedical.com for Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutriodine, proven time and time again to be the very best iodine available for you. Nutriodine is the only Tesla-activated monatomic plasma iodine in the world. It optimizes mitochondrial function and generation of new mitochondria from totally neutralizing the venom from a desert recluse spider bite in Southern California to eliminating malaria parasites reported by medical missionaries in central India. Dr. Bill's Nutriodine is simply the most powerful healing formula there is. Nutriodine clears the body of all known pathogens, restores it to an alkaline state, and even promotes stem cell regeneration. Order Dr. Bill's Nutriodine today at 888-212-8871 or visit us online at NutriMedical.com.
Warning, if you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-959-5759. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-959-5759. That's 1-800-959-5759. 1-800-959-5759.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, May 5th. And we're going to get a little more political in this segment. And you just heard the Ten Commandments, which is not only my favorite movie, but also the basis of my life. And unfortunately, it's not always the basis and ethics for other people, particularly on Wall Street or even in politics. So what I want to talk about is the war is against us, not Donald Trump. As you know, I've been a supporter of him from day one, and you can see from an economic point of view why I would be, because everything is really working out great, not to mention the potential of a settlement in the Korean Peninsula and confronting our enemies, particularly Iran. But Comey and Mueller, as you know, are the tip of the iceberg. They are small fish in a much bigger tank. And before we get to that, there's a quick refresher on what brought us up to this point. As you know, Comey breaks the law, to save Hillary. Realizing this cover is blown at the last minute, he reopens the investigation. Trump wins. Comey, Mueller, and the deep state who worked to prevent Trump's election pivot to run Trump out of office. And then Comey is fired. Both sides agreed he needed to be fired until Trump did it. Comey takes the next step in the game plan. He leaks lies about Trump to the media so that the pre-chosen Mueller, his friend, and the fellow Trump haters get in his special prosecutor. The needed witch hunt begins. The Russian collusion fairy tales lives on without accountability, and the soap opera is wearing thin on me and all Americans. The multi-headed monster brainwashes a majority of millennials to believe the values we have honored for thousands of years suddenly are racist, sexist, and must be eradicated. And I have 2 kids in college, and they tell me they have to deal with this nonsense daily. If you even mention that you believe what we believe in terms of conservative viewpoint, they're mobbed at school. So we have to get rid of these professors. These professors invent microaggressions, cultural appropriation, and safe places. Just sickos, in my opinion. Suddenly victims are everywhere, and statues must be torn down, careers destroyed, insane boycotts enforced, and every crisis must be seized to advance the lie. They doctor research to create pseudosciences about gender, weather, equality. Borders are destroyed to fatten the voter rolls of the left. That's what it's all about, folks. It's getting more Democratic voters in. That's what this border issue is about. So it could be a one-party country because the end justifies the means, and the collateral damage doesn't matter. Only now this cynical viewpoint is losing its hold. This is war. They don't have to tell the truth. They can ruin lives with lies. They can even justify the murder of innocent Americans. This, too, is becoming outrageous, and many who are on the fence, social media, news media, and the Democratic Party are only some of the arms of this monster. The goal is to wipe out Judeo-Christian influence in America. And we're going to do whatever we can on this show to stop that, but we're very small. It's now painfully clear to more Americans that this is the case. The left is desperate to remove the last firewall against their revolution. Marriage, parental rights, guns, civil discourse, all must go, and they have no hope of winning. But things are not going according to their plan. Something unexpected has happened. They were forced to expose their true colors and their true target before they were ready. Satan is overplaying his hand. Conservatives and Christians are no longer the only ones who are disgusted. Here's an example. Jimmy Kimmel asked Roseanne Barr, who now supports Trump, why she had changed. She said, "I haven't changed. It's all of you who've gone wacko left." Oops, there it is. A city worker walks into a motorcycle shop and finds it for flying military flags. A veteran who was shot 3 times in combat protested. The city worker looked at the veteran and said, "You did nothing for our country." The video went viral, and the city totally backed down and rejected the worker. Another thing that wasn't supposed to happen was a creative writing professor at California State University at Fresno who said this is about Barbara Bush right after her death. She said, quote, I'm sure you've heard this many times already in the media, which is disgusting. Barbara Bush was a generous and smart and amazing racist who, along with her husband, raised a war criminal. When people were outraged, she said, "This is what it looks like to be an Arab American, Muslim American woman with some clout online expressing an opinion. Look at the racists going crazy in my mentions right now." This is what she tweeted. The writer taunted those attacking her, said she was a tenured professor who makes $100,000 a year. She says, "I'll never be fired." The university came back and said, "Oh, yes, we can." I don't believe this woman meant to melt down and manifest this demon. I believe this extremism is a sign of the evil is being driven to extremes. The left quickly disavowed her, but it's too late. There's all too common hatred of the left is out of the bag. The backlash against her was swift and overwhelming. The entire strategy against our freedom is unfortunately demonically inspired. These cracks in the armor of the monster are a sign of an answered prayer. As you know, we had National Prayer Day on Thursday. Hopefully all you participated. It shows us that our stand in prayer against the powers of darkness is working. The masters of the left don't want you to realize why Trump is still so popular and why Obama, Hillary Clinton, Jerry Brown, and CNN look more like crazies every day. We are seeking God for our country. That is forcing the left to be more extreme and obvious than they want to be. And I'm not saying this is going to be an easy battle or one that won't get worse. What I'm saying is that this is a rush to extremism is a sign we can't ignore. Time for us to come into unity. Time for us to increase our prayers. Time to expect the gigantic implosion of the war against our freedom. The war is against us. But if God be for us, who can be against us? And this is what I needed to say, folks. And a lot of this is pent up, obviously, and I put this together in a little bit of an essay. But, bottom line is a lot is at stake here in our freedoms. And we start talking about giving up our rights to guns, for example. Many of you may or may not agree, but I don't want this to turn out to be Nazi Germany, because this is what happened. The guns go first, and then next thing you know, gas chambers. And if you don't believe that's possible, give up the guns and have a government totally in control and see. This is what the Founding Fathers, as you all know, this is why they created their ability to have guns and have a Second Amendment as we now have, because it protects us against the government. It protects us against the government. Is our government so great that we can trust it? They lie to us. The secret government, which I've been writing about for almost 30 years in my newsletter, now it's finally come out. They call it the swamp. Probably you need to go in there and fire every government employee in every department and start from scratch. And I don't know if that would even solve it, unfortunately. But anyway, you don't want to give up your freedoms, and that's what this fight is really all about. And that's part of the reasons why I do this radio show. We talk about other things besides just making money in Wall Street. It's Wall Street Raw, because isn't Wall Street tied to what's happening in our economy and our politics? If we're a socialist country, which is going to fail, just like in Venezuela, if we go that route, who's paying the bills? It's the capitalists. And the capitalists, eventually won't be there, and then the whole system will implode. Right now we're having a pension crisis in our country, and that's why the Fed is raising interest rates. I talked about this in a couple of previous broadcasts. Pensions can't meet their obligations, so we've got the Fed in there jacking up rates. This is all related to the economy, to our freedoms, to what's going on. So very important that we talk about these things and we express our opinions openly and freely here. Meanwhile, we're going to have our good friend Sinclair No joining us in our next segment, and maybe Harry Boxer if we can get him online. You're listening to Wall Street Raw.
Are listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at wallstreetraw.com.
I tried other brands, but I came back to my Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck or back or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a
a computer can take its toll on your body.
See why our homegrown small business at sunny-bay.com has tried to help people just like you. Get your Sunny Bay heating pads at sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com. Or call 253-678-1361 for hot and cold therapy. sunny-bay.com.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNLoans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNLoans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNLoans.com. That's GCNLoans.com.
This is a warning to all household pests, to all cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, and rats. If you've made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix. Because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home. Terminix has 90 years of experience eliminating home invaders. And they make it easy for homeowners to be protected by offering a free pest estimate by calling 1-800-676-9879. Cockroaches, spiders, ants, mice, rats, and other pests. This is your last chance. With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will never stop working to keep you out with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Pests.
Wherever you are, I will find you.
Pests. You've been warned. Homeowners are calling Terminix right now for a free pest estimate. 1-800-676-9879. 1-800-676-9879. 30-day money-back guarantee at participating locations. Limitations apply. See plan for details.
Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10 years shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at ReadyToEatBacon.com. ReadyToEatBacon.com.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. It's Saturday, May 5th, and this is my favorite segment, the one we do with our good friend Sinclair No from KFNN 1510 Phoenix and author of the incomparable blog EatTheBankers.com. Sinclair, thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday morning.
Thank you, Mark. Always a pleasure.
Okay, so we had some job report information on Friday, so let's talk about that.
April jobs report, the economy added 164,000 jobs in April. The interesting point here is that the unemployment rate dipped down to 3.9%. Now, this was kind of a quiet jobs report. 164,000 jobs was below expectations of around 185, 190. We didn't see anything in the way of wage growth. Hourly pay rose 0.1%. That's hardly worth even noting. Mm-hmm. The unemployment rate, though, going down to 3.9%, that's the lowest that we've seen since Bill Clinton was president. So we're going back 17, 18 years now. And that is a very low number. You think we're at full employment, but at the same time, there's still a lot of people working part-time. We haven't seen wages start to pick up. At some point, you just have this feeling that 1 month we're going to look at the monthly jobs report, and they're going to say wages are up 0.7% for the month, 1% for the month. All of a sudden, we'll see wage inflation, and everybody will get nervous as all get out. But we're just not there yet. It is not spreading out through the economy, even though we have a very tight labor market in many regards.
Okay. So the talk on the part of the Fed, of course, is the inflation, and I believe they met the inflation target already this year, correct?
PCE inflation, that's the gauge they like to use. We're at 2% now. They looked at that at this most recent Fed meeting, FOMC policy meeting, which wrapped up on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Nobody expected the Fed to raise rates this time around, though. They had raised the prior meeting 6 weeks before.
I asked you about that, and you predicted correctly.
Yeah. Most of this stuff with the Fed is easy to predict. I mean, they really do telegraph it. They let you know ahead of time what they're doing. Most all the time. The big problem with the Fed is when they start surprising people. I mean, this goes back to 1987 when Greenspan raised rates and, we had the crash of 87. It wasn't that there was anything terribly wrong with the economy back in 87. It's just that Greenspan surprised the markets, and when the markets are surprised, they sell, most typically. So the Federal Reserve has gotten quite good at telegraphing what they're going to do. Right now they're saying 2 more rate increases for a total of 3 in 2018. We knew it wouldn't be this one, in part because there is no press conference that followed afterwards. So Chairman Powell did not have an opportunity to come out and explain why they were raising rates and what they were thinking about moving forward. The language changed ever so slightly, acknowledging that they were essentially at their inflation target, that the jobs reports would be looking good and solid enough for them to feel comfortable with raising rates even more. So we'll see where it goes from here. I think they're still on track for 2 more rate hikes this year until we hear differently from them. The market is starting to think that there's going to be 3 more, but that we won't really know that for at least another 6 months, I would say.
I've heard, done a little research on this, Sinclair, and we've been talked about it a lot, but the story that I'm hearing, research that I'm doing, says that the rates are going up because there's a pension crisis in this country, and the rates have to go up at some point to save the pensions that can't seem to meet their obligations. What's your reaction to that?
I doubt it. I think the Federal Reserve is trying to raise interest rates to put a little dry powder, set aside some ammo for the next time they need. Right now, if the economy does roll over into a recession for any reason, whether it be pensions or whatever, they don't really have the arrows in the quiver, if you will. How much could they lower rates from here? Not enough to make any kind of a real difference. The interesting thing, though, is that the Federal Reserve is about the only central bank in the entire world that is tightening at this time. You've still got the European Central Bank with their short-term rates minus 0.4%, I believe it is. Japan is minus 0.1% on their rate. They're at negative rates. And they're not looking to tighten anytime soon. In fact, they're continuing on with some of their quantitative easing programs. And we're seeing inflation slowing down in the Eurozone. It's creating a unique dynamic, and we've seen the dollar jump up over the past 2 weeks as a result of that.
Yeah, that's frustrating the gold bulls out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, we've seen gold go down as the dollar has gone up, no question about it.
We had an interesting dialogue this past week with Elon Musk cutting off a couple analysts during a conference call, and that caused a lot of attention on Twitter and the financial press across the board. It seems like Elon's getting a little frustrated with some of the questions being asked of him.
Yeah, and it's a little bit understandable. You've listened in on some of these conference calls over the years, Mark.
They're boring.
They're boring. And Elon Musk actually came out and said, well, that's just a boring question. That's not cool to ask me about that. How very boring you are. I don't really want to answer that question. Why don't you ask something good? And they actually took some questions from YouTube, from some people on YouTube, just kind of like regular folk from YouTube. and not the typical analyst. Now, look, I understand earnings calls. You're supposed to go over the numbers. And Musk probably could have pulled a CFO out and said, these are the numbers, these are the projections they were going with. And then, Musk could have followed up and said, now ask me some interesting questions. You've got your numbers. And the analysts need their numbers. I get that. But quite frankly, beyond that, Musk was right. These analysts are boring. These analysts are not cool. These analysts are not looking at the innovation that Tesla is bringing to the market, that Elon Musk is bringing to the market. He's an innovator, and there is nothing innovative about Wall Street analysts. They are boring. They're incredibly not cool, quite frankly.
Yes. Some say he's the Edison of our time.
Yeah, he's an Edison, he's a Steve Jobs, whatever you want to call him. Doesn't mean that he's going to be successful in what he does, but he's innovative. He's coming up with ideas, and that should be respected, and that should be valued in some way. I mean, meanwhile, Wall Street is the opposite of innovation. Wall Street siphons off value. That's what they do, whereas somebody like Elon Musk tries to innovate to value. It's a real dichotomy, and I think Musk was right to call out these analysts. They're not focusing on the right thing when it comes to Tesla. Tesla has its problems. Tesla has its difficulties. Talk to the CFO about it. Then move on, and then you've got a chance to talk to Elon Musk about innovation and what's really happening and why people actually value the company as much as they value it. I mean, this is a company that is valued a little bit more than Ford right now, I believe, still.
Sinclair?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Sinclair No from KFN 1510 Phoenix and author of the incomparable blog, EatTheBankers.com. I want to thank you again for taking a few moments with us on this Saturday morning. Thank you, Mark. Sinclair. And as we do each week, we close our show here on Wall Street Raw with our old friend Ed Hart used to say on the Financial News Network way back there in the 1970s when he closed as we do by saying, "We will know in the fullness of time."
Thank you for listening to Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Elf, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week Elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. At wallstreetraw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetraw.com. That's wallstreetraw.com.
Hi, I'm Marcia Miller from Mud Pie. Every new parent dreams of bringing their baby home for the first time. But some babies are born too sick or too soon to come home right away. That's why Mud Pie supports the life-saving research and programs of the March of Dimes, the leading nonprofit organization for pregnancy and baby health. Help us give every baby a fighting chance so that more babies can come home healthy. Learn how at marchofdimes.org.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.